We're here today to talk about grounded solutions. So, I've been wondering, when were you last on the ground? Not for your morning yoga session or an unexpected trip in the snow. When did you last choose, intentionally, to sit down on the ground? Because I can almost guarantee that on your way here this morning, you walked or drove or cycled past someone who was doing just that. Actually, there are hundreds of people in Edinburgh for whom sitting down is the only occupation they can find. When it comes to global challenges, homelessness is perhaps the most prevalent social disease of our age. It has spread to every country in the world, and we're yet to find an effective cure. Homelessness is hugely debilitating and usually deadly, robbing people of their health, happiness, and basic human rights. Because being homeless is not just being without a home, but it's the loss of security, stability, and self-esteem. In Britain, the life expectancy of a homeless person is just 47 years, over 30 years less than the average UK citizen. Homeless people are also 13 times more likely to be victims of violence, making them one of the most vulnerable groups in our society. After several years of gradual decline, the prevalence of homelessness in the UK has been rising since 2010, a trend that's set to continue as the delayed effects of the economic downturn begin to take their toll. But while debt and unemployment often play a major role, by far the most common cause of homelessness is the breakdown or loss of relationships. About 2 months ago, I asked myself what the ground in Edinburgh feels like. I mean, I know what the grass and the meadows is like on a rare sunny day, and I know what the mud in Arthur's Seat is like in the rather more common rain. But I realized I had no idea what life was like on the pavement. So, one day I met a homeless man called Alex, and for the first time, I finally ended up sitting down. Sadly, I didn't look quite this glamorous. Alex had been on the streets since April of last year, when his mum died, and he was forced to move out. He wasn't in a good way when I met him. Actually, he told me he was planning on committing suicide that night. And that's why I sat down. Because as long as we stay standing, we remain distant, removed, separate. And I couldn't keep my comfortable distance any longer. Sitting next to him was terrifying, but not because of what I feared he would do to me, but because I feared what I was about to try and do for him. Help. We all fear helping each other. We fear the cost of time or money, and we fear the pain of another's burden. But we do it every day. We help our flatmates with the washing up, or at least we know we ought to. We help our neighbors with the recycling. We help our friends through painful breakups and family breakdowns. I believe the only difference between helping our friends and helping the homeless is knowledge. We know our friends, we know their circumstances, and we know they'll help us back. If over 50% of homelessness is caused by the loss or breakdown of relationships, then I believe the building up of new ones is the key to finding a cure. While government and charities are playing a hugely important role in the fight against homelessness, developing relationships requires individuals like you or I to make a move. And I believe that move is from the upright to seated position. What would it look like if we chose to know the people on the pavement? If we chose to know their name, or how they take their coffee, or their smile? Wouldn't it be easier to help them if we knew what they liked for breakfast, or how they like to have fun? That's why I believe we can change the face of homelessness through conversation. That's why I've decided to take up sitting down. I haven't saved any lives, but if nothing else, taking up sitting down has challenged me to think about why I haven't tried to help the homeless earlier. So far, I've thought of two main buts that stop me most of the time. The first but I regularly repeat is, but I can't solve all their problems. Knowing that I can't fix the major issues like finding a home or a job is often what stops me from trying to help at all. But the gradual realization that I can't even solve my own problems, let alone anyone else's, has helped me to see that sometimes the most helpful thing we can do is to simply choose to listen. If loneliness is as dangerous as it seems, then I believe stopping to talk can and will make a difference. But number two that I often say is, but I can't empathize with that much sorrow. One of the reasons we can find it so hard to help the homeless is that we simply don't know how to relate to people whose lives are so much harder than our own. But one thing I've learned since taking up sitting down is that while many people living on the street have tragic stories, most of them aren't tragic people. In the face of constant struggles, many homeless people are persevering with joy. Fortunately, I found a third but, namely my own, which has helped me to put the others into perspective. Choosing to get to know the people living on the pavement has been a challenging but surprisingly enjoyable experience. Choosing to get to know people by their name and not just where they sit has radically changed the way I see the problem of homelessness. And all it's cost has been a few coffees and the occasional cold butt. Now, I do appreciate that sometimes sitting on the pavement is not a very attractive prospect, particularly here in Scotland. But it turns out there are plenty of other ways to sit down with the homeless. The Grassmarket Community Project is an Edinburgh-based charity that provides opportunities for anyone to go and share their hobbies and their friendship with many of the people we all walk past every day. Whether it's through gardening, woodwork, crafts, baking, or football, the Grassmarket Community Project is a warm and safe place to go and get to know the homeless, this time with the option of sitting on a chair. It's here that I've learned what it looks like for normal, busy people like you and I to really help in the fight against homelessness by offering our friendship and building relationships, one cake or craft or corner kick at a time. From my experience, it's remarkably easy to find common ground with the homeless, whether that's on the street or in a seat. So, in the spirit of this innovative learning week, why not come and learn with me as I take up sitting down? Now, you've heard of the evils of a sedentary lifestyle, but I hope I've shown that sometimes sitting down is the best thing you can do.